Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Storytime with Grandma Kate. And happy Valentine's week. A week from tomorrow is Valentine's Day. So I'm going to be reading a Junie B. Jones book called Junie B. Jones and the Mushy, Gushy Valentine. This book was written before the ones that I have been sharing with you on my YouTube channel. So this one takes place when Junie B. is in kindergarten, not first grade. So you may notice in this book, even though in first grade she's still a little goofy and naughty and whatever, I think she has a little more maturity than kindergarten. So we'll see how 5-year-old Junie B handles Valentine's Day. In this video, we're going to be reading chapters 1, 2, and 3. So if you like this video, share it with your friends or your teachers or your grandparents or anybody who you think might like Junie B. Jones. So the first chapter is called Party Ideas. And I love this is the when Junie B was in kindergarten, all of her books started the same way, and I have it memorized in my head. It says, "My name is Junie B. Jones. The B stands for Beatrice, but I don't like Beatrice. I just like B, and that's all. I go to school in room 9. Room 9 is where they have afternoon kindergarten. Also, they have morning kindergarten. Only I am not familiar with that arrangement. Today at school, my teacher had an announcement to make. Announcement is the school word for listen to me, and I mean it. My teacher's name is Mrs. She has another name too, but I just like Mrs., and that's all. Mrs. told us that we are going to have a special day in room 9. It is called Valentine's Day. She said that Valentimes, she says Valentimes. She says that Valentimes are special cards about friendship, and all of us in room 9 are going to give them to each other. My bestest friend Lucille squealed real happy. "Oh, I love getting cards, teacher," she said. "I especially love getting the kind with money in them. Money is my favorite kind of mail." "Me too, Lucille," I said. "Money is my favorite kind of mail too. Plus, also I enjoy the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes." Mrs. did a chuckle. "Well, I'm sorry, girls, but I'm afraid there won't be any money in our Valentines," she said. "In room 9, we will just be sending happy wishes to each other, but it will still be lots of fun." She smiled. "We will be making a special Valentine's box to hold all the cards. And on the day of our party, I will personally deliver the cards to each of you," she explained. Just then I jumped right out of my chair because nobody even mentioned a party before. "Hooray!" I yelled. "Hooray for parties! Can we have cake and donuts, Mrs.? And what about cheese popcorn and cotton candy and pretzels and candy apples?" I thought some more. "Plus, also, we'll need red licorice and peanut butter cups, probably, and chocolate covered raisins. Oh, yeah, and melted milk balls and gummy bears." I looked over at her. "Maybe you should be writing this down," I said. Mrs. shook her head no. She said we would have cupcakes, punch, and candy hearts. I sat back down very disappointed, 'cause not much thought went into that menu, that's why. Lucille stood up. "What kind of punch, teacher?" she asked. "Will it have fresh raspberries and strawberries floating in it? My Nana's caterer always puts fresh raspberries and strawberries in our punch, and it is delicious." After that, Lucille twirled around in her fluffy dress. "And what about dancing? I am learning ballroom dancing at my expensive dancing school, and so I would be happy to teach the children who are cheaper than me." Mrs. stared at Lucille for a long time. "How very generous of you," she said finally. "But I don't think we will be having ballroom dancing, Lucille." Jamal Hall waved his hand in the air. "Then what about a puppet show?" he asked. "If we can't have dancing, can we have a puppet show?" "Yes," said a girl named Lenny. "Or else maybe we could hire a magician." "Or what about a wild animal act?" asked a boy named Roger. "Like a grizzly bear or a sea lion." Just then a boy named Polly Allen Puffer ran right up to the front of the room, and he jumped up and down all over the place. "No, wait, I've got it," he shouted, real excited. "We could get some of those jugglers who juggle chainsaws." After that, room 9 clapped and whistled, and hooted and hollered. Because who doesn't love chainsaw jugglers? That's what I would like to know. And there's Polly Allen Puffer jumping up and down and all the kids clapping their hands. If I were Mrs., I'd be worn out by those kids. But they get all excited when you mention party. After we finished clapping, we looked at Mrs., and her head was on her desk, and her eyes were staring out the door. Then all the children in room 9 got very quiet, because Mrs. was scaring us a little bit. Plus also, we were out of party ideas. Yeah, I know when I taught first grade, if I got real quiet like that, my first graders got real scared, because that meant I was really upset. Chapter 2 is called Scribble Scraps. The next day, me and my bestest friend named Grace were playing on the playground. And guess what? We saw Mrs. carry a giant box into room 9. It was the box we were going to decorate for Valentine's Day, I think. Wow, 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 that thing will hold up million bajillion Valentine's cards, I said, real thrilled. That Grace did a frown at me. Stop saying Valentime, Junie B, she said. You keep on saying Valentime with an M sound. And you're supposed to say Valentine with an N sound. I did a frown back at her. Who said so? I asked. I said so, said that Grace. Didn't you hear my voice? I just got finished telling you it has an N in it. The word is Valentine. I did a huffy breath at that girl. You are not the boss of me, Grace, I said. This is a freed country, and if I want to say Valentine, I can, and I will not even go to jail. That Grace looked annoyed at me. I didn't say you would go to jail, Junie B, she said. I just wish you would say the word correctly, that's all. Yeah, well, we can't always have what we wish for, Grace, I told her. I wish Valentime had an M in it, but it doesn't, does it? After that, me and that Grace made squinty eyes at each other. Plus also we crossed our arms and we tapped our angry feet. Only pretty soon we got tired of that, because fighting with your friends is not that fun. And that's how come both of us hugged each other and we said apology. Sorry, Junie B, said Grace. Sorry I tried to be the boss of your words. Sorry, Grace, I said back. Sorry, Valentime doesn't have an M in it. After that, both of us holded hands and we skipped all the way to room 9. That is called a victory skip. And guess what else? After we got to room 9, Mrs. said it was time to decorate the Valentimes box. Here's a sweet little picture of Junie B and Grace doing their victory skip. I think it's nice that they apologized to each other, although Junie B's apology wasn't really an apology to Grace, wasn't it? She didn't apologize for being sassy to her. She just apologized, or she didn't even apologize. She just said she was sorry that Valentine doesn't have an M in it. Get mixed up with that. Everybody quick sat down in their seats. Then we watched Mrs. cover the box with shiny white paper. Plus also she cut a mail slot in the top. And after that, all of the children got out our scissors and we cut out paper hearts to paste onto the sides. I cut my fastest. Mrs., look, I said. I am already done cutting my heart, and so I have the fastest scissors in room 9, probably. Just then a meanie boy named Jim jumped up from his chair. No, you don't. Look over here. I already cut 2 hearts. See? 1, 2. So ha-ha on you, he said. I quick cut another heart. Yeah, well, now I have 2, too. And so you are not the winner anymore, meanie Jim. Jim held up one more. 3, he yelled. I just cut number 3, so I am still 1 ahead of you. I made my scissors go speedy fast. Ha! No, I have 3, too, so there, I said. Jim did a fast snip. 4, I'm up to 4, he said. That's how come I got frustration inside of me. Stop it, Jim! Stop cutting so fast fast and I mean it. After that, I tried to cut one more heart, but my scissors went very out of control, and my heart turned out to be a scribble scrap. Darn it, now look what you made me do, I hollered real mad. All of a sudden, a big hand came flying over the top of my head, and it snatched my scissors right off my fingers. I bended my head way back to see who it was, and it was Mrs. And there's Mrs. taking Junie B's scissors. See what I mean about Junie B being a little less mature as a kindergartner? She has a shorter temper. You're in kindergarten, do you get upset and frustrated with a lot of things when they don't go your way? When someone's trying to beat you on something? Maybe if you're in first grade, you can think about what you were like in kindergarten, maybe how you've grown a little. I'm 54 years old, and I'm still growing and learning too. Just this week, I had an experience to learn how to deal with anger and frustration. Papa helped me. But yeah, I can relate to Junie B getting frustrated. I think we all get frustrated sometimes. I looked up and did a gulp. I was afraid it was you, I said kind of soft. Then Mrs. went to Jim's table, and she snatched his scissors too. And so me and him had to sit in our chairs for the rest of the day, and we didn't get to decorate the Valentine's box because our cutting days were over, that's why. And our pasting days never even got started. In this last chapter we're going to read in this video is chapter 3, Picking Out Valentines. The Valentine's box turned out very beautiful. After it was finished, Mrs. passed out lists for us to take home. The lists had the names of all the children in room 9. There are 18 children in our class, said Mrs., so that means that everyone needs to bring 18 Valentines. I raised my hand. Do we bring Valentines for ourselves too? I asked her. Well, no, she said. I mean, there's no rule against it, I suppose, but Valentines are really supposed to be given to others. She thought for a second. Oops, that means I made a mistake, doesn't it? She said. Since you won't be bringing in cards for yourselves, you will only need to bring in 17 Valentines. I raised up my hand again. Yeah, only what if we also want to bring a Valentine for you, Mrs.? I asked. Mrs. raised up her eyebrows. Well, then you would be back up to 18 again, wouldn't you? She said. 17 plus 1 equals 18. I tapped on my chin. Yeah, only what if there's people in here who we don't actually like that much? Do we have to bring them a Valentine too? Yes, Junie B, she said, of course you do. Valentine's Day is a day of friendship for everyone. So every single boy and girl in room 9 will bring a card for every other boy and girl. After Mrs. finished explaining, she sat down at her desk. I zoomed up there and whispered in her ear. Yeah, only I know I have to bring cards to the regular boys and girls, they said real soft. But do I have to bring cards to the big fat stinky heads? Do I? All of a sudden, Mrs. throwed her arms up in the air. Yes, Junie B, yes you do, she said. For the last time, you will bring a card for everyone in room 9, even the big fat stinky heads. I'm surprised the teacher said big fat stinky heads. I wouldn't say big fat stinky heads. Would you? You might think it, but I don't know if I would say it. I didn't think any of my kids were big fat stinky heads. Every child was special in my mind. Just then, all of room 9 looked at her, because teachers are not supposed to say big fat stinky heads, I think. After that, Mrs. closed her eyes for a real long time. And finally, she stood up very slow. And she went to the sink. She took an aspirin. The next day was Saturday, and that was the funnest Saturday ever, because Daddy took me to the drugstore, and he bought me beautiful heart antennas for my head. Plus, also, he let me pick out my very own box of Valentines. After we got home, Mother helped me pick out the perfect cards for every person in room 9. First, I picked a card for my bestest friend, Lucille. It had a lovely princess on the front of it. This one, Mother, I said. I will give Lucille this one. Because when she grows up, she is going to marry an expensive prince, and she is going to let me and Grace sweep her castle. Plus, also, we will get to wear her raggedy, used-up gowns. Mother looked at me and looked at me. Lucille is a regular saint, she said, very quiet. I know it, I said. Me and Grace are lucky to have her. After that, I found the perfect card for Grace, too. It had 2 running shoes on the front of it. Mother read me the words. It said, Valentine, you and I make the perfect pair. We do, Mother. Me and that Grace do make the perfect pair, because Grace can beat me at running, and I can beat Grace at lots of other stuff, probably. Only I haven't actually found anything yet. After that, I picked out special cards for all of the children in room 9. Every time I picked out a Valentine, Mother crossed a name off the list. Finally, there was only one name left. Can you guess who? Jim, said Mother. You still need to pick a card for Jim. I did a big sigh, because I didn't want to give that guy one, of course. I looked all through my box of Valentines, and then all of a sudden I saw a card with a funny skunk on the front. That one, I said. I will send Jim that one. Mother shook her head. I don't know, Junie B, she said. Picture of a skunk just doesn't seem to be very nice. I put it in an envelope. Perfect, I said, 'cause neither is Jim. Now, you know me really well. You know I love skunks, so I wouldn't mind having a little stinker on my Valentine. But anyway, thanks for tuning in today to Junie B. Jones and the Mushy Gushy Valentine. In our next video, we'll be reading chapters. Let's see, this was chapter 3, so we'll be reading chapters 4, 5, and 6. So until I see you next time, have a great day.